Trade Extensions is the leading software provider for the most complex and large-scale strategic sourcing and optimization projects, and works with many of the world's largest companies and some of the most complex supply chains seen today. With supply chain projects, the software is used for anything from simple sourcing that needs solid, robust information capture and basic analysis, through to highly complex supply chain sourcing projects that require leading-edge solutions. Even simple supply chain projects may involve thousands of items, hundreds of potential suppliers, and literally millions of potential solutions. For example, if you are a multinational company buying transport for thousands of routes across the world, you could use our platform, TESS, to source all of your transport requirements on a global basis, choosing the best mix of providers to align with your organization's objectives. The levels of data involved mean that manual analysis is impossible, and what sets us apart is the analytics or optimization that our software provides. And importantly, when we talk about optimization, we mean using mathematical optimization algorithms to bring a scientific rigor to the analytics process. Using our software, a company can see the millions of potential combinations of suppliers and items being bought and quickly compare options to identify the optimized solution. E-sourcing is well developed in all industries, but now more companies are seeing the benefits of using optimization when allocating contracts to suppliers, as it means they can apply a range of business constraints and easily demonstrate that they are getting the best possible solution. Imagine running a large and complex transport tender. When designing your tender, you will have identified your business constraints and award criteria. And scenario optimization allows you to take these considerations into account when identifying the allocation scenario that best matches your business objectives. For example, in this situation, you might need to balance multiple goals like lower transit times and a reduced CO2 footprint while achieving the lowest cost. Using optimization means multiple scenarios can now be explored easily and in detail for all relevant stakeholders. And the benefits to transit time and CO2 can be quantified before being implemented in operations. As computing power has grown, big data can be incorporated in real time with powerful optimization algorithms, meaning these techniques are now being used for supply chain sourcing. This approach takes sourcing for supply chains to the next level and involves running a tender to source and allocate all the contract components of a supply chain that delivers an optimum result when looking at the total chain. So, for example, one supply chain sourcing project run on our platform was for a large American bank producing items for a direct mail campaign. This project needed to source paper, printing, and distribution, and these were all tendered simultaneously. The TESS platform was then able to develop a working model of the supply chain and identify an optimized solution based on price and other constraints like lead time. As well as discovering new suppliers who fit in well, savings of 10% and more in these types of projects aren't uncommon. And when you are working with spends of potentially hundreds of millions, then these savings quickly add up. This is a radical approach if you think about it. Traditionally, supply chains with multiple supply legs have each leg tendered or negotiated separately, meaning when they are brought together, the end result can only ever be suboptimal. The data handling and analytical capabilities of today's technology mean that multiple supply chain legs and even the entire supply chain can be tendered and remodeled at the same time for optimum efficiency and price. With the bids received in a tender, an optimized supply network with the latest providers' offers, capacities, and qualitative measures can all be evaluated in real time. This can be hugely enlightening, with the new network benefiting not only from the latest and best offers, but also from the optimum configuration that's achieved by matching compatible offers at the lowest cost through the entire supply chain. Of course, ensuring all operational business constraints are met, for example, managing the degree of change from the current supplier base, is much easier than before because you are dealing with one set of results, as opposed to offers from each leg of the supply chain. Supply chain sourcing like this is fundamentally changing the way companies operate. So let's outline the key benefits you can achieve. Supply chain sourcing allows you to amalgamate your buying across multiple legs or even an entire supply chain to exploit relationships and opportunities wherever they exist. Another unique benefit is that it effectively creates a working model of your supply chain so you can play with your supply chain and see the effects of any major changes, such as what would happen if a certain supplier went out of business. And because the data you are analyzing have been submitted during competitive tenders, you can be sure they are true market rates and far more accurate than any forecast. Finally, for every scenario analyzed, sophisticated algorithms ensure that each leg of the supply chain is totally balanced by taking into account the capacities of each potential supplier. Put simply, for every supply chain point, what flows out must first flow in. Supply chain sourcing is changing sourcing and supply chains forever. So get in touch to see how you can implement these leading-edge techniques across your supply chain.